So we have quite a lot to cover. Mr. Benton, give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Am I sharing properly? Thank you. Okay. So we're going to go over some COVID health and safety protocol things. Related to that, we have a lot of new procedures for the cafeteria and the lunchroom. We have academic updates, summer school, and what you may or may not need to know about that. Going back to some hallways and dress code reminders. Chromebooks, you have them. We're going to need them back along with textbooks. We'll talk about that. We have a lot of important information from student services, along with class-specific information that Ms. McMaster and your class advisors will share, along with student council to close. So like I said, quite a lot here. We will move quickly, but use the chat. Please, please, please use the chat. If you have any questions, chat them away. I will see this chat and I will continue to answer as we go. So we're going to get started with masks and social distancing. As you're most likely aware, we will be having a lot more students coming back to school starting next week. We're very excited about that. The COVID numbers are down in Erie County, and that's a good thing. However, we still do need to wear masks at all times when we are in school. You may have heard about some of the relaxed guidelines around masks when you're outside. If you're fully vaccinated, you may not even need to wear them indoors anymore. Those do not apply to schools. That's a very clear directive from the governor and from our county health department. So masks from all people in school, students, staff, faculty, everybody, need to be worn properly, fully covering your nose and mouth at all times, except for when you're eating lunch. Again, no exception. Many of our faculty have been fully vaccinated. Some of you kiddos are starting to get vaccinated. Maybe you've already been vaccinated fully if you're a junior, but probably not. That does not matter. When you're in the building, you need to wear your mask properly at all times. Make sure it's comfortable. Make sure you have a backup. If you need an extra one, come and see me or see anybody else in the school, but you do need to wear that mask inside. That is a policy we're going to ask you to comply with nicely. That's for the safety of you, your loved ones, and everybody else in the building. Moving on, social distancing. So the big change that you're going to notice next week, we will have desks at 3 feet apart in the classrooms. In fact, you're going to see more desks in school starting tomorrow if you're coming physically to school. Those desks have been moved in today. So those desks may be as close as 3 feet apart in the classroom to allow for more students in the classroom to physically be there. However, when you're eating lunch, that still will be a 6-foot distance. You need to be 6 feet apart when you're eating lunch. We'll get to lunches a little bit later. A quick other note on classrooms. Many of you, actually not many, but a few of you right now have been going to the library with Ms. McMaster as an overflow room because there have not been enough desks in the classroom. Starting Monday, that's going to change. We have it in place where everybody, when you're in school, will need to be physically in the classroom. So if you've been going to the library, continue to do that this week, but starting next week on Monday, you go to all of your classrooms physically. With that, you'll notice your teachers will talk to you about seating charts coming up next week. Per the guidelines, we do need to have assigned seats in all of our classes. You need to sit in those, and that's mandatory for contact tracing purposes. A quick definition of contact tracing. What that means is that if, unfortunately, a student does test positive for COVID, we then need to go through that student's schedule and see who they were sitting close to in all of their classrooms. So that's where we go to that seating chart to see student A tested positive. They were sitting closer than 6 feet to student B and C. So then those students would need to be quarantined if they were not vaccinated with the COVID vaccine. So that's why we have the seating charts, because we will be sitting closer than 6 feet apart. So please, be on the lookout for that conversation with your teachers about an upcoming seating chart. That is a guideline that we need to make sure that we are following, sitting in our assigned seats, even when there is a substitute in class. So just be on the lookout for that. I'm going to move right along. Lunches. A couple of new changes for lunches. So for the most part, we've been alternating all school year between the North Gym and the cafeteria. That is going to change starting next week. Starting next week, we're going to be using both of those areas to eat at the same time. The North Gym and the cafeteria are going to be open for eating lunches, both locations, all periods, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What we're going to do to kind of keep it fair is have freshmen and sophomores be directed to eat in the North Gym. Juniors and seniors, you will be able to eat in the cafeteria. So that's how we're going to kind of divide this up, because we do not have enough seating for everybody in the cafeteria. We do need to maintain seating at 6 feet apart. That means we need both of those locations to be used. So basically, freshmen, sophomores go into the north gym. You juniors and your senior friends, you'll be able to eat in the cafeteria every day. Keep in mind that we really cannot have you sit down at a seat until we've given you the okay to do that. That's needed because we have extra time in between the periods where the desks have to be totally cleaned and disinfected. So it's okay for you to put a bag down or a belonging down near your desk and then go get in line to get your lunch if you're getting a school lunch. But you can't sit down until that area has been cleared, and Mrs. Bennett, myself, one of the other lunch monitors down there, a teacher, they'll give you the okay. But just when in doubt, ask somebody, ask a custodian, hey, has this been cleaned yet? But we need to make sure that the desk has been fully cleaned and wiped down in order for you to sit there. And again, a reminder, we need to be 6 feet apart when we are eating. We've been a little bit lax with that, and that's probably because, again, we're getting vaccinated and we feel a little bit more comfortable, and that's a good thing. But we are going to ask you to do your best to maintain 6 feet of distance, especially when you're eating. You should only really, when you're in the cafeteria, be sitting somewhere with one of those tiger stickers on it. I got one right here, one of these stickers on the tables. That's where you should be sitting when you're eating. After you and your friend have eaten and you've thrown out your food and your masks have gone back on, if you want to move a little bit closer together, we don't have a huge problem with that. But when you're eating, you need to be 6 feet apart, please. A couple of other reminders. Food and snacks really should be bought at the beginning of the period, no going back to vending machines and buying food later. And then again, we're going to be dismissing you a few minutes early, 1 or 2 minutes, sometimes maybe 4 or 5 minutes early, in order to get the cleaning staff time to clean for the next lunch period. We'll be asking you to go outside, to wait in the foyer of the South Gym, to maybe head towards the Sportsplex if it's raining. So again, just be flexible with that. This is really important for us all to kind of coexist with these guidelines in place. We need to just follow these lunch procedures and play ball. I have not seen any questions. If you have questions though, guys, please chat them away. All right, moving along. Academic updates. Again, just a reminder that when you're in school, you need to be in your classes physically. We've noticed a few kiddos, it's mostly seniors, but a couple of underclassmen as well, choosing to kind of maybe take a second lunch period. And then, hey, I'll hang out with my friends and I'll log in to my Zoom 10th grade English class or 11th grade US history class from the cafeteria. Can't do that. You need to be in class physically when you're here. Unless you've been given permission from an administrator like Mr. Pigeon, myself, or Mrs. Abels. Pretty much you're in class physically all of your periods. We don't need that overflow anymore. Starting on Monday, everybody just goes to class. And guys, we only have 20 more days of school to go. That's it, 20 school days after today. And 4 of them are the asynchronous remote Wednesday. So 16 periods of the bell schedule. That is it, 16 periods left. So it's important to finish strong. It's important to make sure you're updated on all of your grades and where you stand and what you need to do. A quick note on the schedule. Very important to make sure you're aware. The last day of the bell schedule is June 15th. That's the last day where we follow the 9-period schedule. On Wednesday, June 16th, that is a fully remote day. You're still going to need to log into your homeroom and check Google Classroom, along with June 21st. That's the last official day of school, June 21st, where we have a homeroom that you need to log in. You need to log in, you need to check Google Classroom. I had a good question here, getting to the questions. Is everyone going back in person on Monday, or is it still an option? That's a very good question. So the answer to that is your parents submitted a form. We're going to email out confirmation to you all and your parents today as to what cohort we have you in. Most students have elected cohort 3. That's coming to school 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Some of you and some of your families either did not complete that form, or you elected to stay in your current cohort of cohort 1 or cohort 2. That is an option if you still want to be in cohort 1 or cohort 2. Or remain in cohort 4. If you're a fully remote student and you have not indicated otherwise, you're going to remain fully remote. If you would like to change that, email me, email Mr. Pigeon. We can make a few last minute changes. but we're getting close to the deadline on that. So I would say if you still want to come to school 4 days a week, we would love to have you, but get that information to us sooner rather than later. But it's not mandatory. That's a very good question. Keep those questions coming. I'm sharing with you here a calendar. I just talked about this, but again, this is kind of the end of the year as we approach June. So Monday, June 14th and Tuesday, June 15th. Those are the last 2 days of the Bell schedule. June 16th is a Wednesday. That's a regular remote Wednesday. You log into homeroom, teach your office hours, and you check Google Classroom. On June 17th, this is an important day for you juniors. It's the ELA Regents exam. If you are taking that exam, it's going to be here in the building on June 17th. It's a good opportunity for you to get some Regents exam experience, but specific information on that was already communicated and you can talk with your English teacher. Friday, June 18th is a holiday for Juneteenth. And our last day of remote learning is June 21st. That's Monday, June 21st. That is our last official day of homeroom where you need to log in, you need to access teacher office hours and check all of your Google Classrooms. After that, you would only be coming to school for a Regents exam and then maybe using that time to complete any last minute projects or assignments that are outstanding. So that's a little bit about our end of the year calendar.
Mr. Lonzak, can I jump in here?
Sure.
Yeah, that, I want students, Tigers, you to take a look at this. Because if you recall last year, we ended a little bit earlier too. But we're a little bit more worried about that this year, to be frank with you, because we want to make sure that these are productive times. So if you're done and you're passing and such, this is going to be a nice opportunity for you to get a head start on the summer. If you've got work outstanding, if you're on the borderline of not passing, you have a golden opportunity here. The business, I should say, the building will be open for business during essentially all of these days, except for Friday, June 18th and Friday, June 25th. I've asked your teachers to be very clear with you in the next month exactly what you need and what you need to be doing. Because we will be collecting your Chromebooks and such, probably starting on the 14th and 15th. However, we need you to continue learning, turning in assignments, finishing what you need to do for your teachers. And those of you who are on the borderline of passing or not, you need to use this real estate in this time very, very wisely. So we'll have more communication with you about these days that we're open, where you could come in, including that Wednesday, which would be the last Wednesday support day that we have. But yeah, don't look at this calendar, get all excited and, oh my God, I'm done on the 15th. If you do and work very, very hard and get everything done with your teacher, you actually could be done pretty much on the 15th if you don't have an exam. But if you're behind the 8 ball and you owe a bunch of work, we're going to call you in to get it done on these days, in person or remote. We're going to make you turn your camera on and get it done.
That's right. You can also come in any Wednesday from now until the end of the year. If you're having a hard time focusing at home and you've got work you want to wrap up, we have 50 to 60 kids and growing coming in for a few hours on Wednesdays. If you feel like that would benefit you, email me, see your school counselor, come and talk with anybody in school about coming in on Wednesdays to get work done. You can have access to your teachers. So Wednesdays, we are open the rest of May and June.
Mr. Lonzak, on your agenda, did you mention the bus seating charts?
No, I did not. Go ahead.
Those are upcoming too. Some of the bus rides, you would be on the bus for more than 10 minutes. And if you're sitting adjacent to someone and we end up having to contact trace that person, we kind of need to know where you're sitting on the bus. So if you're taking the bus, we're going to have a seating chart for you where you should and need to sit. I would highly encourage you to follow that, because that will actually help you if we have an issue, because we don't want to have to quarantine whole buses. It's also a golden opportunity to rediscover your bicycle or rediscover your feet and get up here without a bus or a transportation. I know the reality is that some of you need and want to take a bus, and feel free, but look at this beautiful day. You also can get up here by other means, but keep in mind, we do have to have seating charts on buses, and we'll have more details for you on that.
All right, moving right along. Have a question real quickly about graduation next year, as you guys will be seniors. We'll get to that a little bit later, but the quick question on volunteer and community service. I do believe we'll bring that back in some capacity. More information to follow. We do believe it's important for us to give back to our community, but that traditional 20-hour requirement probably will be changed to something a little more doable, given COVID and the inability to get out into the community for so long. But I would say yes, good question. Expect something next year where we would have a volunteer or community service requirement. Again, for you juniors, summer school may be required if you are not passing one or more core classes. In order to keep you on pace for graduation next year, we may be requiring you to come to summer school this year. That is going to be in person. Even if you're a fully remote student, we would like you to come back in person, because next year that's going to most likely be the requirement. More information is going to be coming to you about summer school if this is something you may need, but the dates are going to be July 7th through August 11th, no Fridays, so Mondays through Thursdays. You would only need to come in for the classes that you still needed to earn credit for, but keep checking your email, not just for summer school things, but for all sorts of important end of the year things. Kind of getting back to nuts and bolts in-person stuff. So hallways. Just remember, we need to respect those directions on one-way halls and up only and down only stairs during passing time. That is really, really important. I have the diagram here. We should be walking counterclockwise around the halls during passing time. Up only and down only stairs are clearly marked. Please respect those during passing time. That's an important thing for COVID protocols. We've noticed a little bit of an uptick in wandering around during lunch or during a study hall. And we're going to ask you to maybe tighten that up pretty please. We're going to ask you nicely, but failure to produce a pass if you're in study hall and you want to go visit a teacher, that's going to result in a lunch detention or a write-up of some sort. Basically, if you're in study hall and you're scheduled for that, you need to be in study hall. The only way you can get out of study hall is having a pass from a teacher. So if you want to go see Mr. Kisker or you want to go see Miss King, ask them for a blue pass. They'll write it to you in advance. You will then be able to go check in with your study hall teacher. Hey, I'm going to see Mrs. So-and-so. Here's my pass. They'll mark you off and you go. The same goes for the library. We're going to hopefully start to open that library up a little bit more during homeroom and lunch. Ms. McMaster, do you want to talk about the sign up in the protocol for passes and how to sign up to go to the library if you wanted to do that?
Sure. So I'm in here, I'm in the high school, usually by 7:45 in the morning. If you want to come into the library from a lunch, there's two ways to do that. You can either come directly to the library instead of going to lunch, then you would not need a pass. You're just going to report to me immediately. If you want to grab food first and come up, you need to find me before that lunch period and get a pass from me. I will handwrite you a pass. You're going to show that down in the lunchroom and they will release you up. You'll hand that in to me and then you're going to sit and you're good to go.
Thanks. It's real simple. No pass, no go. Whether that's the library or a classroom, no pass, no go. So just tighten that up for us a little bit. We've been able to do a nice job with that in the past, and I know we'll end the year and lock that up the way we need to. And that's for everybody's safety. We need to know where students are for many, many reasons. Couple of quick ones on the dress code, everybody's favorite topic. We have been a little bit lax on many of these things, but the dress code, if you want to read it, it is in your student handbook. The one we are going to start to tighten up on specifically are hoods in the hallway and hoods in the classroom. Hoods really should not be up. That's a safety thing with us wearing masks and having a hood up. It's really hard to identify students at times. So we are going to ask you nicely and kindly to please put that hood down as we approach warmer weather here. I don't really know why you'd want to wear a hood inside anyways. Any shirt with questionable language, promoting alcohol or drugs, we're gonna, have a conversation with you about that. The same goes with anything else that is in, not in line with the dress code about midriffs, visible underwear, that sort of thing. As we approach warmer weather, be sure to be in line with the dress code. Hats as well. We've been a little bit lax on hats. We may ask you to take that hat off. I'm most concerned about hoods, but hats as well. Absolutely. Have another unrelated question to anything. Keep the questions coming, guys, about international travel for next year. Costa Rica trip, going to France, going to Quebec. I don't have a good answer for you on that now. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I might bet on the no. However, that's not a definitive. Nothing has been decided on international travel. I would say if any kind of travel is going to happen, it's going to say vaccination is mandatory. So that's just one more reason if you're thinking about getting the vaccine or your family is to go ahead and get it for any sort of travel. So we don't have any definitives on international travel. I know our Spanish club does that wonderful Costa Rica trip. I would love to have it. And I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but let's hold out hope. We'll get to junior, senior stuff coming up. Chromebooks. We've been using them all year, but we will need them back from you. They need to be updated, inventoried. So you must turn in your Chromebook and all of your school textbooks at the end of the school year. More info to follow, but essentially on June 14th or 15th, if you're an in-person student, that would be the first chance for you to turn it in during school. But that should only be done if you have a personal device at home that you can still work from. And I would say a cell phone doesn't count, like a computer or a laptop at home. We're still going to need you to log in and do a few things on those Wednesdays, and you may have some end of year projects that you need to tighten up and do some work on. So do not turn your Chromebook in if you have outstanding assignments. But if you're really good and you're locked and you're loaded and you're ready to roll on June 15th and you're here at the end of the day, that'll be your first option to turn in your Chromebook. And then for all students, especially our remote kiddos, we're going to have drop-off days, June 17th, most likely June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, where you can drop them off right at the front door or, kind of drop and go in the Westmoreland Loop. Check your email. We'll be communicating that to you, but we do need your Chromebooks back.
And you want to locate, just keep in mind when you're turning it in, bring your charger with you. Also dig in the cushions of your couch for that stylus that you misplaced, because we want that stylus back. And if you dig in your couch for the stylus, you probably find $6 and change too. So it's always a rewarding experience. So stylus, charger, Chromebook.
Yep, absolutely. A couple of good questions here. Next year, 5 days a week, or do you think it's 4? I can almost unequivocally, although it's not my decision alone, say 5. Going back 5 days a week. Many people agree with that. I think we're going to go back to normal next year in a lot of traditional capacities. So be ready for 5 days a week next year. Good question. Student services. I have Mr. Benton, Ms. Scalzo, Ms. Legoff, and Ms. Surzak. Feel free to unmute and give your important end of the year updates. Go ahead, everybody.
All right. How's everybody doing? So anyway, for you juniors, first of all, I hope you all have a really great end of the school year. I know the weather's getting great, and I hope everything is good for you. You stay safe and you finish strong. But anyway, for upcoming plans, especially for those of you looking at college planning, we've worked with you all spring long. We want to make sure that you continue that into the summer. As far as doing your exploration, doing your due diligence in terms of trying to take a look at the colleges, taking a look at some of the things that we've talked about with you with regards to, analyzing, what is going to be right for you. You all should have a copy of that college planning guide that we gave out in English classes. It's online as well. You could always stop in and see us to make sure that you have that to, continue to plug away as far as doing virtual tours, signing up for in-person tours. All campuses now are really back doing, on-campus tours. It's a good time to do it over the summer, even though, the students aren't there as much as they are in a regular semester. It's still a good time to get out there and start exploring the colleges. SAT and ACT signups. Okay. Again, we've talked to you about that. Many of you have taken it throughout the spring. The College Board is finishing up their last SAT in June. So coming in the fall, that will be on your to-do list. Again, the SAT is not something that right now colleges are requiring, or the ACT. It's one of those things. It's a personal choice. It's one of those areas where it can still help you if you have a strong score. But if you decide not to take it, or you are not happy with your score, it's really not going to hurt you. You don't have to report it. We will also be having a financial aid night at some point. Okay, so just, keep checking your emails. Right now, we're probably looking at early in the school year when we get back, because starting October 1st is when families, you and your family, can begin the financial aid process in terms of filling out the forms. Okay, so look for something with regards to that in the near future about a financial aid night. Other than that, something that you might want to think about is letters of recommendation. The earlier the better to ask your teachers for letters of recommendation. Some students even do it before the end of the school year this year, or certainly by early next year. Thinking about maybe a couple of teachers that you want to write your letter of recommendation for college, if that in fact is what you are planning on. Continue to check our website for up-to-date information on college tours, other types of specific college and career information that we keep updated throughout the spring and summer. Okay, and as always, contact us if you have any questions or would like to meet to discuss your post-secondary planning as we work into next year. Okay, and scheduling wise, make sure that any adjustments that you want to make to your schedule, see your counselor as soon as possible. Okay, we're not going to be making changes in September or late August. We're going to make them before the summer. So please see us if you're thinking about considering making any changes to your schedule for course requests.
And I'll just emphasize, know where you stand. Keep checking your Aspen portal for grades. Know where you stand. If you're not sure, check in with that teacher or your counselor. That's super important as we approach the fourth quarter. We don't have final exams this year, so the fourth quarter is your last final grade that gets averaged into your overall grade. So keep that in mind. Class of 2022, we have Mr. Boyer, Mr. Bennis, and Ms. Boyer. Go ahead.
I can start. So just keep an eye out on your email for announcements for student council stuff. Your class officers have organized a senior hoodie and a senior girl shirts fundraiser for you guys that we're going to be sending out in a few weeks, so that you guys can have those ready in September for the start of your senior year. Again, that information will be sent out via email, so just make sure you are checking that. The prom date for next year is set for Thursday, June 23rd. So that's just kind of a mark your calendar. We'll have prom on that Thursday. You guys will have graduation practice on Friday and then graduation on Saturday. So prom Thursday, June 23rd, 2022. Tomorrow, we're having a Blaze Pizza fundraiser. So you can get dinner for your family, and 20% of the proceeds go to the junior class. So make sure you guys head out to Blaze Pizza tomorrow. The information, if you're ordering online for the promo code and things like that, are on posters all around the school. And then just keep an eye out for the Google form to elect your student council and class officers for next year. Those will be coming out on Monday and Tuesday. The videos for those of your classmates who are running are in the morning announcement. So take a couple of minutes to watch those, and then the Google form to vote will come out next week, Monday and Tuesday.
I just want to add that with the Blaze Pizza fundraiser, anything we get from that goes directly back to you guys. In the fall, we're going to be doing a lot of the events that we're seeing this year with the seniors. So we'll be doing a senior.
We'll have to think about that.
We'll be doing a senior sunrise, a senior sunset. We'll be having a senior week again next year. And all of the money that we fundraise this year and next year will go to lower the cost of those things. So hopefully we will get a lot of money from this fundraiser and from the hoodies we're selling, and all that goes directly back to you, so we could have hopefully free events for you, as opposed to having to charge you a couple dollars here or there to cover the cost of them. So really think about tomorrow coming out from 4 to 8. It's at the Blaze Pizza in the Target Plaza, and that'd be great. Thank you.
Before I move on to the yearbook and Ms. McMaster, junior senior privileges. If you're a junior now, you're going to need to keep, in order to keep your privileges for next year, number one, you got to keep your grades up. And then number two, we're going to have a form coming out to you in homeroom or emailed out to you if you are in cohort 4 that you will need to complete and get in by the end of the year. So we will still have junior senior privilege. Be on the lookout for a form. Same with parking passes. We will clean that up at the start of next school year, but if you're driving to school, that will be information for next year. A couple of questions there about that. Yearbook information and senior portraits for next year. Go ahead, Miss Will and Miss McMaster.
Hi, guys. So we're the yearbook advisors, and we noticed a couple of things this year that we wanted to clarify to you guys for your senior year. First thing, and we can't stress it enough, is that all yearbook information is going to come through your school district email account. Everything. That's when we're asking for your senior quotes. We're giving you information about your senior portraits, your baby pictures. Everything will be through school email. You need to check that frequently. And then the other thing, which there's a little bit of confusion this year, so to clear it up for you guys, you will need 2 pictures taken for senior year. The first picture, and the dates are up, they're coming up soon, and we're going to send the information out by the end of the week. Your first picture will be the formal picture through Herman Studios. They're coming here to Amherst. You will have the picture taken. That is the one that goes into the yearbook, and the school uses it for any awards that are given out or on the sign that's at the front of the down at Main Street. There's going to be a dress code, so we will make sure that we send it out. But gentlemen, you're going to need to get a white dress shirt with a tie or a bow tie. Ladies, you're going to want to get a black shirt. It can be a t-shirt. It can be, something that's got like a nice collar to it. But you want a black shirt, maybe a nice necklace, something like that. Your second photo will be taken here also at school through Jostens. Jostin is the company that does the yearbook. That picture goes on your student ID card and is also the picture that we use in Aspen. So be aware that there are 2 different photo requirements for the yearbook. Did I miss it? No. Okay, that's it for us.
Yeah, the big thing, you notice those dates, everyone. Those are the last 2 days of the bell schedule, June 14th and 15th. You sign up online, check that email to make your appointment, but we ask that you make it during a lunch period or a free period. If you come in late, maybe come in early that day, but you're not to be missing your last day of classes for this photo. If you don't have any free periods or lunches, please make that appointment for the next day, June 16th, between 9 and 2. So again, you sign up online, but do not make your appointment. Be careful to not make your appointment during one of your academic classes. We would ask you to reschedule if you do that by mistake.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Lonzak.
And I believe that is it. Last but not least, the student council. And I think you mentioned this, but a quick reminder, Mr. Banis or Ms. Boyer on student council.
Yeah, so if you watch the announcements this morning, and again on Friday, we will have different videos from the people running for both your class officers next year, as well as the student council officers. Those are 2 different things. So the seniors next year, which will be you guys, you will have a president, a vice president, secretary, and treasurer. There will be a lot of people involved in the planning for senior events. But then also student council has a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer, and they are more school-wide events. Everybody is welcome to come to student council meetings when we have them in the fall if you would like input or to be on planning committees to help with certain things. So you do not need to be an officer to be involved in student council, but the campaign videos will be on the announcements today and then again on Friday for you to watch and vote for certain people. And then the ballots will be coming out to your email, just like the yearbook stuff will be for Monday and Tuesday. We will announce the winners next week, Wednesday.
Thank you, Mr. Banis. And I am going to go ahead and stop screen sharing. We did go a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but we had a lot of important information. Mr. Pigeon, any final words?
I've been thinking about, I like to use analogies. And the reason that we got you together here, and I'm going to use a digital generation analogies, is we're kind of pressing the reset button here. And it's a positive reset button because you have been through a lot. It's been challenging for you as students, as young people, navigating this whole situation. Naturally, it's been challenging for us adults, but we're really most concerned about you, and you've done a really, really nice job. So we're kind of at that point, we're pressing the reset button, moving more towards normalcy. However, just being cognizant of, safety. We have to stay safe during this period. This is, an important transitional period that we don't want to get too loose. At the same time, we want to make that progress. I'll ask you to just think about something as you're processing these changes that are going to come kind of quick for you related to this pandemic. And now you guys are positioned as juniors, as you're also moving in that trajectory towards adulthood. 12 months from now, you're going to be like ready to graduate in adulthood. But we've kind of wandered off the path, not by your fault. We need to kind of come back together, understanding that those changes really need to happen and they take time. The path of least resistance in life in general, and I get kind of fatherly on you here, is comfort, ease. And there's been aspects of this pandemic that have been comforted and easy. Staying home on Wednesdays, coming to school 2 days a week, all of that type of stuff. What we've been doing with you academically is, one could argue, a little easier. But we kind of got to get that hard back into the equation in terms of we need to persist at a more rigorous level. That's in school, but that's kind of in life in general, that we need to start moving in the right direction. And that's not to add pressure. The only reason I say it is just reflect upon those points of comfort, getting out of your bed, coming to school on Wednesdays, coming to school 5 days a week. We need to get ready for that. And that's where we kind of need to be in the future. So we have this kind of nice little opportunity to get used to it for a month. But I'd encourage all of you to take the opportunity to kind of get back into shape, so to speak, with school rhythms. And think about that over the weekend and such, and think about really kind of flexing your muscles, so to speak, for the next month and getting back into school tiger shape.
And last one, if you want to come back still 4 days a week, that door is open for you. But we need to know about it first. So again, we're going to be getting information out to confirm your cohort later today. But if you want in 4 days a week, let us know. We would love to have you. We have room for you. We are open for business. So thank you for your time today. I appreciate you guys and the questions that you asked. Any further questions, ask us at any time. At this point, then we are going to go ahead and end the meeting. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.